whether it's Oldenburg, whether it's anybody outside, maybe New Point, you're in the middle of the storm now, and so you're going to start to see these swirling winds move toward you as well. So while New Point technically is not in the warning, everybody who's watching right now across this area in Ripley County, and then of course I'm hoping it doesn't continue to move right into Franklin County, but you'll see a portion of it has. At present, we mentioned the fact that this storm is moving off to the north, and if it continues, it's going to move right into Franklin County, and we're going to end up seeing a new warning. Here's a new ETA. So we've got New Point at 7:45, so you got 9 minutes. There's Batesville at 15 away, and Oldenburg at 19. So we have that time period moving up. It's now moving northeast. That's the latest, so it's shifted a little bit, heading back to you guys toward Oldenburg, Batesville, as opposed to right toward New Point. But you guys in New Point are all involved as well. Now, on the larger scale, hold on, let me get rid of this first before I back it all out. Drop that off of there. The warning is out technically for another 10 minutes. I would think they're going to probably likely extend this. You can see the storminess that's going to be jumping into Franklin County. Now, we're seeing some rain across some other areas. I don't see any lightning with it, some pockets of heavy rain in spots. So for you folks in Brookville who are watching, major area up through, obviously, Franklin County, you folks should be very aware of where this storm is going, and you should be thinking about getting into your tornado safe location. I won't say that's necessary just yet, but my guess is this is going to continue to roll off and roll toward you because it's too powerful a storm to just die out. We could very well end up, oh boy, here's the latest for you. And remember, I was just saying what we were talking about here. I want to bring this up so you can see it. Hold on a second. I got to move all this stuff off the screen a little bit. Here's New Point, 746. Okay, let me say this about that. You'll notice the tornado index is at 6.5. We continue to see this notching here in this little kind of arm that comes out of the storm itself. That's the center of the storm, which I'll peg in a moment. But it does appear to me, and by our 9 first warning Doppler, that there could be some very heavy rotation like a funnel cloud happening in the area that we're talking about right here, just north of Napoleon. So let me go ahead and get all this information off of here, and let's street spot this because this is about as close as it could be to perhaps a touchdown or at least a some kind of twisting winds in and around that area. It looks like it's moving through Ballstown, New Pennington. Let's get a little tighter in here. As we do, I can give you some street spotting. So we're looking at North State Road. That's obviously something major for you folks. You know where it is. Let me bring it down in the middle here. And I'm not seeing, it must be county road, most small county roads. Lowryville, is that how that is pronounced? I think so. Let's see here. All right, so we're talking about an area from New Pennington to Ballstown. This is the circulation that's happening. In fact, is that 421? I think it is. Hold on a second. Yeah, so it's 421. So the outer boundaries then 421, and boy, this has got this back tail, all telltale signs of strong rotation within this storm. So everybody who's watching right now, and this warning is likely going to get extended, I would think, unless something really falls apart quickly. So the warning officially is out till 7:45 for Ripley, but I would think we're going to see a warning extended maybe into Franklin County. At present, here's some good ideas on ETA. New Point at 7:49, Batesville at 7:54, and then you'll see Oldenburg, if it holds together, at 8 o'clock. Continuing to move northeast at this point at 26 miles an hour. We'll continue to get updates as they come in from the computer, but the storm itself, here's an interesting thing here is it looks like you'll see the propagation of the lightning starting to happen out to the east and north. This storm is cycling, and it's going to continue to rotate, and then it's moving northeast. You folks in Batesville, friends, family, everybody else, you need to be in your tornado safe location. You folks in Oldenburg should take it as well. It doesn't look like to me that this storm is going to kind of fade out, as it were. So you folks in that area need to take your safe locations right now. This area that we see, the circulation that we have right across this area is really, I think right about through there, right in through there. I think I drew a pretty good line, kind of a thin line, but you can see it stretching out to about, what is that? I want to see what that is here. Let me take this off pen here and drop it down in low, and we're at, what is that? Got to make sure, what's that highway road? 46. So this thing is heading for 46 in Batesville, right up through this area, right by the spike that you see. We call them skits. It provides that information. We got a new one in. Let me just see if there's anything worthwhile with the new update. There are the new ETAs, 54, still 8 o'clock for you folks in Oldenburg. We're not seeing as much hail with this. You'll see the hail is starting to drop off a little bit along the way. We are seeing, doggone it, we're now seeing another bounded weak echo region in the middle. Remember I mentioned that this looked like it was picking up a little bit of steam. And when we see that bounded weak echo region, it's like looking to top of a blender. And when you see that, that's when you know you have some very strong rotation within the storm itself. Some of these roads here, Mid Road, Base Road, North State, Last, East Legion. So it's all across this area where the potential funnel cloud is probably located. It does look like, and here's some good news, it does appear that some of the winds in some locations are subsiding, but you'll notice that red line that I drew on there, it looks like it's pretty right on the money across the area, because that is showing where those winds are twisting in the atmosphere. Let me show you, see, because here's an update here at 54, one into the middle at 32, 31. Now, keep in mind, while those don't impress you that much, maybe the 54, we're talking about a combined wind now that's going in two different directions, creating a higher amount of shear within this region. So that's what you got to keep in mind, not to think that, well, it doesn't seem that bad, but in fact, when you start putting the algorithms together of those winds going here and there, that's what creates the problems. Now, as we look at things, this is the Wilmington radar. I want to check one other thing and check the Indianapolis radar, and that's showing the shear storm that it is that we talked about. And that's because it's so closer to the radar. Right now, though, the good news is, oh, yeah, that's what we want to see. You bet. Look at the tornado index has dropped to 3.9, and we're starting to lose some of this connectivity. It's starting to get shut down by the storm kind of blowing to the north. And so as a result, we're seeing this storm subsiding somewhat. Boy, and that was quick. I really hope that is going to hold on here as we continue, because that means better things for you folks in Batesville and Oldenburg as the center of the storm that's down here by Napoleon comes up by you. This very well may get moved into a severe thunderstorm that still needs the potential to watch. There have been a number of occasions, and it happened the last go-round with our last tornado outbreak, where we watched a tornadic storm break down to a severe thunderstorm warning and then pick back up and come back into a tornado warning. So don't let your guard down across this region just because we're talking about a storm that may be starting to subside at least somewhat across the area. Now I'm going to bring this back out again for a little more perspective for everybody to be able to see what's going on. I also want to change the radar back to Wilmington and see what that's looking like. And as we do, you'll see it doesn't look quite as fierce. But keep in mind, we're talking about our Wilmington radar here, right? And our Indianapolis radar here. I'm just curious. So this is 54 miles. That's it from the center of that storm, as opposed to Wilmington shooting this at 79. Now, that's still fine to get a fine reading. The reason why I say that is if I tip this map, now you're starting to get an understanding of what's happening. The Wilmington radar shoots a little bit higher because of the curvature of the Earth, whereas Indianapolis is just a shade lower. So it gives us a better understanding of what may be happening at the base of the storm. Not to say the Wilmington radar is not picking things up, but that's why we have the availability and why we have these radars, so that we can get a better sense of what's going on. I do like the fact this is splitting apart. Let me take a look at the velocity here for a second. And we're seeing still some pretty good colors in there. Don't like to see that. Our shear swath, though, that at least looks better. You'll notice the reds that are here, the storm center. Let's get Napoleon back on the map. And as we do that, here we are here. This is moving northeast. There's still some red in there, so that circulation and the shear is still happening. But it's not as strong as, let's say, when it was back down here on the other side of Osgood. So that's the good news. It looks right there is our tornado warning. We're about seconds away from this either being changed or anything else. Our Batesville storms, yeah, that's within a minute or two. We're still talking about this big circulation of storms. I just think everybody, for safety's sake, probably should stay in their tornado-safe locations. Let's see what the Weather Service does just in the next 30 seconds or so as we pass the 7:45 mark. It does appear that, yeah, that's the watch, and it's gone. So they're not going to extend it. Okay. As we look at some of the velocity, we'll be returning you to program, but I'm going to tell you folks right now, in through Batesville and Oldenburg, I'm going to hang with you just for a few minutes here because I'm a little concerned that this storm is still brewing up some pretty strong winds. Although we are seeing, see the different green shades are not as bright. Just a moment ago, if you were with me, you know what I'm talking about. We're starting to see some of that dissipate, and that's a good sign. But there's still a lot of rotation with this storm. So let me tell you this. If you're in that area where this storm is cutting across here, quite frankly, I think it still warrants a severe thunderstorm warning, if nothing else, because the storm, while dissipating, you can see the lightning strikes are starting to fade as well, still is fairly strong and could cause some damage. So I want to tell you folks across this area, New Point, Batesville, Oldenburg, up through Metamora, this storm's going to continue to move northeast. And as it does at 26, there's going to be some torrential rain. There's going to be frequent lightning, and we're talking about some strong winds. I would say winds stretching to about 50 miles an hour, perhaps better if this starts brewing up even more. But that's the very latest from our 9 First Warning Doppler Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Raleigh. I'll be back on, and I'm going to be tracking the storms as we continue tonight, because these storms are going to continue, and they're only going to be more widespread as we head closer to 9 and 10 o'clock. This is just one isolated storm, so stay weather aware tonight and stay with us. We'll be the first to let you know, as we always are.